I worked at the company for 7 years and was the one keeping everything running smoothly, even though no one noticed my efforts. When I was denied the promotion I had been waiting for, I decided to change the game. I stopped doing everything for others and let the system start to fail. This is a story about being undervalued, finding the strength to prove my true worth, and changing my life. The sky outside was a dull, heavy gray as I sat across from Elaine's perfectly polished desk, watching her leaf through my promotion application with the kind of detached disinterest that only comes from years of practice. 5 long years of skipped holidays, working late instead of going to birthday dinners, and spending entire weekends chained to my laptop were crammed into a 18-page portfolio she barely bothered to glance at before setting it aside. "I appreciate your enthusiasm," she said, nudging her designer glasses up the bridge of her nose, "but after a thorough review, I just don't think you're ready for senior management. Maybe in another year or two." Adequate. That was the word she used, and it landed in the air between us like a stone dropped in still water. I was the one who kept our department at the very top of the client satisfaction charts. I was the one who single-handedly saved the Lawford account when everyone else had written it off. I hadn't taken a real weekend off in 3 years. But all I did was smile and nod, the same polite, professional mask I'd worn so many times before in corporate America. "I understand. Thank you for the feedback. Glad we're on the same page," I replied, even though I knew we weren't. She glanced at her watch before adding, "The Ellison proposal needs your attention today. They're asking for additional metrics before they'll sign." As I gathered my things, she was already typing away, my disappointment filed away as quickly as my application. I passed the corner office that should have been mine, the one with the wide windows and the glass door where my name should have been engraved. In the parking garage, I sat in my car for a long moment, staring into the rearview mirror. The woman looking back at me wasn't broken, and she wasn't angry. She looked calculated. That's when I made 2 decisions. I'd cancel my upcoming vacation, and I'd stop writing the daily operational guides no one else even knew how to make. They had no idea yet, but without me, their perfect system was about to crumble. Before I tell you what came next, I should explain why so many people stay stuck in jobs where they're undervalued. It's because they believe things will change, even when deep down, they know better. If that hits home, I post career strategies every week that might just change your work life. My name is Emily Preston, and up until that meeting, I was the most dependable employee at Meridian Solutions. Not the most visible, not the highest paid, but I was the one keeping the wheels turning while others got the credit. I'm naturally methodical, with a nearly photographic memory for systems and processes. Growing up with 4 younger siblings meant I learned how to solve problems before they exploded, skills that translated perfectly to corporate life. When I joined the company 7 years ago, I walked into a disaster. The previous team leader had stormed out after clashing with management, taking every scrap of procedural knowledge with them, no documentation, no handover notes, not even passwords to critical accounts. The place was a mess. Clients were ready to walk. For 4 straight months, I worked until midnight, reverse engineering every workflow, decoding messy spreadsheets, and piecing together client histories from scratch. I built detailed, color-coded, index guides for every process. Marissa never bothered to learn any of it. Why would she, when I ran things so flawlessly? "You're a natural problem solver," she'd say during my performance reviews, right before handing me a raise that never came close to my worth. Recently, the company had landed a huge contract with Ellison Enterprises, worth millions every year, and I had built that relationship from the ground up. I stayed late to match their overseas time zone, learned their industry inside out, and smoothed over every hiccup. Elaine? She'd shown up for exactly 3 meetings, all of them to claim credit during executive reviews. Every morning, I arrived at 7:20 to prepare her briefing notes before her 8:50 meeting, and every evening, I sent her detailed updates on every active project. In between, I put out fires so fast no one even knew there'd been smoke. But the morning after she shot down my promotion, I changed the script. I walked in at exactly 9. No early starts. No prep notes. I answered only emails addressed directly to me and ignored the rest. When a supplier crisis hit, I forwarded it to the department responsible instead of fixing it myself. By lunchtime, the confusion had already started. "Emily, did you see the thread about the Lawford scheduling conflict?" Lucas from accounts asked. "Yep," I said, still typing. He lingered, waiting for me to jump in like I always did. "So, can you fix it like you usually do?" I looked up. "That's under procurement." I sent it to Anna. His eyebrows lifted. "But you always handle these things." I smiled, just enough to be polite. "I've been advised to stick to my assigned responsibilities. Just making sure I understand my place in the organization." By 5 in the afternoon, I had gathered my things and walked out the door, no overtime, no dragging work home with me. While driving, I canceled the cabin rental I'd booked for my upcoming vacation, which was supposed to be my first real break in nearly 3 years. Instead, I knew I needed to stay and witness the system's looming failure firsthand. That evening, my phone kept buzzing with work alerts, but I muted it and chose to spend time with my daughter, Ava, baking chocolate chip cookies, something I hadn't done in ages. As we giggled over the oddly shaped dough, I felt a heavy burden lift from me. "Mom, why are you home so early?" Ava asked, licking batter off a spoon. I hesitated, trying to find the right way to explain office politics to a 8-year-old. "I decided my time is important, sweetie, and I want to spend more of it with you." Her face lit up. "Can we do this again tomorrow?" "Absolutely," I said, ignoring the phone vibrating insistently on the counter. By the next morning, cracks had already started to show at work. The Harper client needed urgent changes to their rollout plan, changes only I really knew how to handle. Marissa tried to take charge of the response team, but quickly got overwhelmed without the usual detailed briefings I provided. "Where are the process notes for the Harper customizations?" she demanded, showing up at my desk at 10:40. "They're in the shared drive under client rollouts," I answered kindly. "I mentioned them in last month's team meeting. There are hundreds of files there." "Which one exactly?" she pressed. I pulled up the folder on my screen. The master file is called Harper Enterprise Integration Complete Process Documentation. It's sorted by module with tab sections. Marissa stared at the 180-page document with clear dread. "Can you just handle this yourself?" "The client's waiting." "I'd be happy to," I said, "but I have the quarterly compliance review this afternoon. I can start on Harper first thing tomorrow morning." Her expression tightened. "This can't wait until tomorrow." "I understand. Should I reschedule the compliance review?" "It's due to the regulators by end of day." She left without replying, her heels clicking sharply down the hall. That evening, I turned off all work alerts and took Ava to the park. My personal phone stayed silent beside me on the bench as I watched her swing, her laughter echoing across the playground. For the first time in years, I was fully present at home. When we got back, I checked my work phone once. 78 missed calls from various numbers. The voicemails ranged from confused to desperate to angry. The Harper team was threatening to pull their contract. 3 systems had unexpected issues, all covered in my guides, which no one had bothered to read. The quarterly compliance report for the regulators was still unfinished. I set the phone down and slept better than I had in years. The next morning, I showed up exactly at 9. The office had changed overnight. Colleagues rushed between meeting rooms. Marissa was visible through her glass office, gesturing frantically on a video call. The regional director's assistant paced near the elevators. I settled at my desk and calmly laid out my tasks for the day. "Where have you been?" Lucas hissed, suddenly at my side, eyes wild. "Everything's falling apart. Elaine's been trying to reach you since yesterday afternoon." "I left at 4:55, I replied evenly. "My hours are 9 to 5, as my contract states." "But the Harper crisis, what about it?" He opened and closed his mouth. "They're threatening to walk. Nobody can figure out how to make the changes they need." I nodded thoughtfully. "That process needs special handling. It's all in the guide I wrote last year." "Nobody understands your documentation without you explaining it," he almost shouted. Before I could answer, Elaine's assistant appeared. "Emily, emergency meeting in the conference room. Now." I grabbed a notebook and pen, walking calmly to the conference room where Marissa sat with the regional director, Gabriel Reynolds. Their faces were grim, folders spread out. Emily, Gabriel said with relief, thank goodness. We need your help with this Harper mess right away. I sat down and set my notebook on the table. Of course. What do you need from me? Elaine's expression was tight with controlled anger. Let's get to the point. What will it take for you to fix this? The promotion? I asked. It's yours. I tilted my head slightly. That's generous, but I've already been approached by a competitor. They offered me a senior management role with a big salary bump. They think I'm qualified. The room fell silent. Byron's eyes widened. Elaine's narrowed sharply. You're leaving? Gabriel asked. When? I haven't accepted yet, I said. I'm weighing my options. Name your price, Gabriel said immediately. We'll match whatever they offer. I gave a polite smile and said, it's never just about the paycheck. It's about feeling valued, respected, and having real room to grow. Marissa jumped in quickly. The Ellison client specifically asked for you by name. You can't just walk away now. I shrugged and said, funny you mentioned that, for others have quit just this past month. Then I reached into my bag and laid a folder on the table. This is my 3 weeks' notice. I'll help with the handoff, like my contract says. Marissa reached out for it, but Gabriel beat her to it, flipping it open, scanning quickly, then snapping it shut with finality. We won't need that, he said firmly. Emily, come with me to my office. I want to talk privately. I stood, feeling Elaine's tense stare from behind as we walked down the hall. Their reaction was about to show me just how little they'd really appreciated me, and how far they'd now go to keep me once they realized what they were risking. Byron's office was sleek and minimal, with a wall of awards and a panoramic city view from floor-to-ceiling windows. He gestured to the chair across his desk. I've been aware of your work for a while, he started, though maybe not close enough. This whole Marissa situation worries me. I didn't know your promotion was blocked. Why didn't you come to me first? Chain of command, I said simply. Elaine's my boss. Going over her would have been inappropriate. He nodded thoughtfully. That's commendable, but maybe it's cost you here. Be honest, what would it take to keep you on board? I chose my words carefully. I want recognition for what I actually do, fair pay, and a role where I get to lead the ideas I've developed, not just follow orders. Gabriel studied me for a moment, then said, I'm creating a new job, Director of Operational Systems, reporting directly to me. Double your current salary, work from home 3 days a week, and full control over department workflows. It's yours if you want it. I stayed silent for a beat, which seemed to throw him off. Is that not enough? He asked. It's generous, I admitted, but I need to be honest, I'm not bluffing. There really is another company waiting on my answer. He leaned back. What do they offer that we can't match? A fresh start, I said honestly. No baggage from being overlooked. No coworkers who think I'm just support staff, not leadership. That's fair, he agreed. But consider this. You've built systems here you know inside and out. Clients trust you. Starting over means rebuilding all that from scratch. He was right, but so was the feeling of being undervalued. I need time to think it over, I said finally. Take the weekend, he replied, but I need your decision Monday morning. And Emily, I'd appreciate it if you could study the Ellison situation before you decide. I nodded. I'll handle it myself today. Back at my desk, an email from Gabriel waited with the formal offer. The salary was more than double what I made now. The job description fit my skills perfectly. Just then, Marissa peered beside me, her face carefully neutral. We need to talk, she said softly. Not here lunch? I have the Ellison call at noon, I answered. After that, 2 o'clock, my office. I nodded and went back to work. The Ellison team was tense but relieved when I joined the call. Their demands made sense. They wanted customizations that usually take weeks done in days. I explained a phased plan focusing on their most urgent needs first, building to the full solution over time. This is exactly why we wanted to work with you, their director said. You understand our business, not just the tech. After the call, I wrote out the plan clearly and sent it to the team with detailed instructions. Usually, I'd manage every step myself, but today I delegated well, staying available for questions but not micromanaging. At 2, I knocked on Elaine's door. She looked worn, smaller somehow, with dark circles under her eyes like she hadn't slept. "Close the door," she said, motioning to the chair opposite her desk. "I hear Gabriel offered you a new position." I confirmed quietly, yes, he did. She nodded slowly, looking like she was weighing her words. "I'm not going to pretend I'm thrilled about it, but I get why Gabriel made the move. You're one of the company's most valuable people." I waited, sensing there was more she wasn't saying yet. "I owe you an apology," she said after a pause, the words clearly difficult for her. "I've relied on your skills and competence for so long without really giving you the credit or rewards you deserve. Curiosity got the better of me. Can I ask you something?" I said. "When you told me I wasn't cut out for senior management, what exactly did you think I was missing?" She shifted in her chair, clearly uncomfortable. "You've always been the technical problem solver, the one working behind the scenes. Senior management requires being out front, visibility, presence, political savvy. Basically, I do the hard work, but others get the credit." She looked almost embarrassed. "That's a bit unfair, don't you think?" I pressed. "Who was the one who presented the Ellison contract strategy to the executives?" "That was you," she admitted reluctantly, and who developed the client retention plan that saved 4 major accounts last quarter?" I countered. "That was a team effort," she said cautiously. "A team you led, coordinated, and created all the materials for," I replied, leaning forward slightly. "I'm not lacking the skills or qualifications, Elaine. I've just let others take the spotlight while I stayed invisible." We sat in awkward silence. Then she asked quietly, "So, are you going to accept Byron's offer?" "I haven't decided yet," I said honestly. "If you stay," she said carefully, "things between us will have to change." "They definitely will," I said firmly. The weekend gave me space to think without office politics clouding my judgment. Saturday, I finally took Ava to the Science Museum, something I'd been promising forever but kept putting off. Sunday, I called my sister to talk it through. "What's your gut say?" she asked after I laid out the whole mess. "That I've outgrown the role they stuck me in," I said. "But I don't know if Byron's offer changes anything or just makes that role a little softer." "Would you be reporting to Marissa if you took the new job?" she asked. "No, I'd report directly to Byron." "And Elaine? What happens to her?" That was the million-dollar question. Gabriel hadn't said outright, but I had a feeling her days were numbered. My sister paused. "So, your choice is, start fresh somewhere else, or accept a promotion that might mean your old boss gets sidelined?" Framed like that, the decision felt heavier. "I'm not out for revenge," I said slowly. "I just want credit for my work." She didn't buy it entirely. "Are you sure? Because part of you sounds like you'd like to see Marissa face the music for underestimating you." That stung more than I expected. Was that true? Did I want to see her humbled? Watch her realize how much she'd leaned on me even as she dismissed what I did. Monday morning came, and I was ready. I showed up at 7:20 a.m., my old start time, and headed straight to Byron's office. His assistant wasn't there yet, and the door was open. "You're early," he said, looking up from his screen. "I wanted to give you my answer before the chaos begins," I said, taking the seat opposite him. "And I'm accepting with 2 conditions." His eyebrows shot up. "Go on." "First, I want to build my own team. Full hiring authority for 4 key positions I believe are critical." Gabriel nodded. "Sounds reasonable." "And the second?" "Marissa stays where she is." He looked surprised. "After everything she's done to you?" "Why?" "Because swapping her out won't fix the underlying problems in the department. Plus, I don't want my first move as a leader to look like payback." He studied me closely. "That's unexpected and smart politics." "All right. Marissa stays, but from now on, her department coordinates operational matters through your office." "Thank you." "No, Emily," Gabriel said, extending his hand. "Thank you for staying. The announcement goes out this morning. Brace yourself for the fallout." And he was right. At 10 a.m., the email went company-wide announcing my new title and expanded responsibilities. My inbox instantly flooded with congratulations, questions, and invites. Lucas stopped by, looking awkward. "So, I guess you're my boss now?" "Technically, yes," I said. "Is that a problem?" He shook his head fast. No. It's great. You've always been the one who really knows what's going on." Throughout the day, coworkers who barely acknowledged me before suddenly found reasons to say hi. Even the admins who were always nice now smiled knowingly. They understood better than most how much invisible work keeps everything running. Marissa avoided me until late afternoon, when she showed up at my desk with a folder. "The quarterly strategy document," she said stiffly. "Since operational planning is under your responsibility now, you'll need to present this at the executive meeting tomorrow." I took the folder from her and said, "Thanks, I'll dive into this tonight." She started to leave but stopped, turning back with a softer look. "Honestly, I didn't fight your promotion because I doubted your abilities. I did it because losing you would have hurt my team badly." That felt like the most genuine thing she'd ever said to me. I met her gaze and said, "That's the heart of the problem, isn't it? Great leaders grow their people, even if it means letting them go." She gave a quick, sharp nod and walked away. That night, I stayed late, reshaping my workspace for the new role ahead. Just as I was finishing up, Gabriel swung by. "Still here? I figured you'd be celebrating by now." I smiled. "I'll celebrate over the weekend. Tonight, I'm focused on planning." "Planning what?" he asked. "Making sure no one else here gets overlooked the way I was." I handed him a detailed proposal I'd been developing. "Here's my vision for the department, complete with training programs to find and nurture hidden talent." He flipped through the pages, raising his eyebrows. "You put all this together today?" I shook my head. "Nope. It's been brewing for nearly 3 years. I just never had the chance to make it real." Gabriel looked impressed. "Note to self, never underestimate you, Emily." "Exactly what I'm aiming for," I said with a smile. For months later, the transformation was in full swing. My team included a systems analyst who'd been buried in IT support and a process developer stuck in admin duties. Together, we overhauled workflows in 4 departments, cutting overtime by 35% and boosting productivity. Marissa and I found a professional rhythm, not exactly warm, but respectful. Freed from the operational grind she never fully grasped, she excelled in client-facing roles. Unexpectedly, employee satisfaction scores jumped sharply. The Ellison contract grew, adding 3 new service lines that specifically asked for my team's expertise. Their CEO even called Gabriel to praise the company's operational turnaround. Half a year after being passed over, on a Friday at precisely 5 p.m., I left the office, keeping the habit despite more responsibility. At home, Lydia had homework spread out on the kitchen table. "How is work, Mom?" she asked without looking up from her math. "Productive," I said, setting down my bag. "We launched a training program today. 25 employees are getting opportunities they never had." She glanced at me knowingly. "Like you didn't have?" "Exactly," I said. She thought for a beat. "That's a good way to fix things. Instead of being mad, you're making it better for others." I smiled at her wisdom. Sometimes the best response to being overlooked isn't anger. It's proving your worth so clearly no one can ignore it. Later, after Lydia was asleep and I was prepping for Monday's executive meeting, my phone buzzed with a message from Byron. "Board approved your promotion to VP. Starts next month. Unanimous vote. Marissa gave the strongest recommendation. Congrats." I put my phone down, feeling a deep sense of satisfaction. This wasn't about revenge or winning, it was about finally being seen for what I was capable of all along. The corner office with my name on the door was nice, sure, but that wasn't the real victory. The true win was changing a flawed system that failed not just me, but countless others whose quiet dedication went unnoticed. The victory was creating opportunities so others don't have to stay invisible to succeed. Sometimes, the most powerful answer to being underestimated isn't proving people wrong. It's building a world where talent can no longer be ignored, no matter how quietly it shines. If you've ever felt invisible at work despite carrying more than your share, I hope my story encourages you. The very skills that make you indispensable are the ones that qualify you to lead. Don't wait for recognition. Show your value so clearly that denial becomes impossible. And if this story resonated with you, please like and subscribe for more insights on reshaping workplace dynamics. Remember, your worth isn't determined by others' blindness. It's defined by the impact you make, whether seen or not.